welcome everyone to the EvoGen podcast. I'm here with Maisie and Colby, and without further ado, super excited to dive right into it. Let's get it going.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you guys are watching on YouTube, you could probably see we're not in the studio right now. I'm a little sick, and it's kind of hard to get us all three in the studio at one time. So, with the video pods, sometimes we'll be at our own houses or wherever we're at. Colby's out of town, out of the country like every other week. So, it's a little hard for that too. So sometimes we'll be on Zoom here like this, or sometimes we'll be in the studio, just whatever's working out for us. But yeah, I guess today we're just talking about success is a skill set and not a personality trait. So I'll turn it over to one of you guys.
Yeah, so with success, it's pretty interesting. I think it's just about success. It's more of a build-up for in my opinion. It starts with the little things in life, right? It doesn't have to be from A to Z automatically. It starts from A to B, then C, then all the way to Z. Uh, but yeah, I mean that's kind of like my initial thought process when I think of success. I don't think it's a destination, it's more of a journey. So that's my thought process on it. What do you think, Colby?
Yeah, I mean, the very first thing that I think of is kind of like a little bit along the lines of what you said. I mean, first of all, success is going to look different for everybody. So you have to start with the end in mind. What does success mean? For some people, it's going to be having a stable W-2 job making 80K a year. Whatever, like that could be success for one person. And I mean, if that's you, I mean, that's not what we're talking about in EvoGen, right? Whereas like some of us, like Eddie, even here in EvoGen, we each have a different level of idea of success. Maisie, Eddie, and I, we each have a different thought of what success looks like for each of us. And it was just so cool to see. Like, I like literally was just at my company, we were sponsoring an event called AquaCon, and in the VIP dinner, we were at Hale Center Theater, and we were all sitting there. And Nathan Bird, who started AquaCon, started this whole movement called Acquisition HQ. He was talking to everybody and he's asking everybody what is their moonshot goal. And Jason Ciciones was there. He's someone who spoke with Tony Robbins so many times and has done amazing things. But he stood up and he said that his moonshot goal was to help 600 people exit their businesses and get to the point where they don't have to like work a day in their life or just to get to wherever their goal is.
Right.
And then another person stood up and said something completely different off of like whatever that was, right? So everybody has a different version of success. And then along the lines of it's not a personality trait, one of my favorite books by Dr. Benjamin Hardy, is called Personality Isn't Permanent. And that talks about how who you want to like the personality that you have is the person who you create yourself to become. So whoever you were like in high school, I mean, you can create a whole different you and like you could be completely different by next year. So it's something that you create and it's something that you envision for yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like you should just bring Dr. Benjamin Hardy on this podcast. You reference him like every single episode. We'll talk about that later. But along those lines, I just feel like when like people maybe on the sidelines like seeing us and seeing Avogen and being like, wow, that's really cool, but like I don't fit in with that or like I'm not successful. I think there's so many people that just have like this big construct of what success actually is, but it's not really that. Like you said, it could be just working a nice job and making income for your family. Like that could be your idea of success. I feel like as long as you feel happy and fulfilled where you're at in life, and and I think that's the key word there, fulfilled, because you could be happy and comfortable, but not fulfilled. But if you feel like you're fulfilled and you're living your true purpose, I feel like you're successful. Like I don't think there's any other word for that besides success. So,
Sure. Yeah, one thing I would want to add too is that I think success should definitely be more internally driven than externally. Like if you're doing something, let's just say you're running a business and you're solely running the business off of just making a ton of money, sooner or later, that's just going to run its course, right? I mean, it's going to be a point in time where you're going to be like, okay, well, I'm making all this money, yeah, but this just feels so empty to me, right? So it has to be greater than just the external part. It has to come from the internal, and then the internal will be greater than you, if that makes sense. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, it has to be internally like driven at the end of the day. So
Yeah. Well, I think each of us can point to something like I know Maisie and Eddie and myself, I know we can each point to something that is internally driving us and that is causing us to want to create a better life for other people in some way, shape, or form.
yeah, for
What
sure.
is it for you guys?
Oh, that's a great question. I still feel like that's ever so changing just because, I'm still, I guess in this field that I'm in, I feel like I'm just still so new and I'm not like a huge expert in what I am doing, if that makes sense, but I've learned so much along the way. And that's the beauty of the journey, whether if you're an investor or entrepreneur. But yeah, I think for me personally, I just want to make sure that I personally am just living comfortably and I get to do the things that I enjoy doing. Making my hobbies more of a priority, if that makes sense. Making my things that I truly enjoy doing more as a priority, and that's utilizing things that generate me cash flow, right? And generate me a lifestyle that I get to live. And I think that's beautiful within itself, right?
Yeah,
So
I agree. That's super awesome.
yeah.
For mine for a while and still is, I still want to help the people in Vanuatu in some way, shape, or form. I don't know what that looks like because I know a lot of people try to help third world countries and it ends up making a country worse than it was off when it was before. But more recently, I just have had like a motivation and a drive to um, disrupt the industry of pornography because that is something that is an epidemic that is spreading throughout our country and throughout the world, and it is just causing worse and worse things to happen. So that is something that just recently came online for me that I would like to dedicate my time to.
I really like
Oh,
that. And I feel like we're all just kind of aligned in very similar ways because obviously we all want to create freedom for ourselves, but then to unlock that deeper purpose. I mean,
yeah.
for me, I've talked about it a little bit with you guys, and people listening to Evo Jenner be like, what is she talking about? This is so different than anything she ever talks about before. But my big mission is helping with lowering the levels of active shooter and things like that that happen in the United States and honestly all over the world because it's so much deeper than most people actually think. And when I was first getting started in this business model that I'm in, my mentor, I'm like, this is what I want to do. I don't know how this relates to anything else that I'm doing, but I just like that's what I need to do. Like I feel like that's my purpose. And she's like, well, the way I see it right now is that you're doing all of this stuff to put your oxygen mask on first. You're building these businesses and creating freedom and these like leverage streams of passive income for yourself so that you can have that time to go put it towards your purpose there forward. So,
Sure. Yeah, and one thing that I would want to just add just about kind of like my purpose is I want it to be internally driven because when people see from a outside point of view, from an outsider's point of view, like, you're doing things for yourself and you're not afraid of putting yourself out there and doing the thing that matters most, that's an inspiration within itself for them to take action and, make an impact in the world as well. So I think that's super contagious. Same way that positivity is very contagious, same way with inspiration, right?
yeah, for sure. I love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so inspiring. And I feel like that's also like a trend, like not with just us three, but among our generation is trying to fix all these problems in the world. And unfortunately, we don't have all the time in the day to do that. So we have to really like free up that for ourselves before we can go and give back to other people in the world. And I feel like generations before us, I mean, not everyone, obviously, there's still some good in the world, but I feel like a lot of big business owners and stuff that we've heard of in the past, like they just do it purely for themselves and to just take that success for themselves and their families and just live with that and not really give it back to anyone else in the world. And I feel like along a lot of the Gen Z people that I've talked to about business and stuff just have these like deeper rooted passions than just starting a business and things like that. So I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, well, that's actually not where I thought this conversation would go at all, but I really liked it better than um, what I initially had thought. But the next point that I have to talk about is how skills like focus and follow through and consistency are learned through, I guess, just staying determined in that vision that we have for ourselves of what success looks like.
Oh, that definitely comes with mindset. I think before anything physically transpires, I think it definitely starts, like I said, internally. Everything has to come from internally in order for a product to be put out there physically. So I think a lot of daily routines and like I said in the beginning, it's very small steps make big progress, right? Even though it's slowly but surely. So that's kind of my thought process when it comes to follow up because I have to follow up every day with people. I have to create a whole bunch of consistency. And sometimes there's some days where I just don't feel like doing it. Uh, but with the purpose that I have internally and with the mindset that I have, just with life, how life works in general, how success is created, that just creates a mixture of things to create that product of success and results, and you get to see that over time, which is awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like a lot of times, like, especially people just starting out or maybe in the middle, you're kind of in this weird, like, limbo state. So, like, you get really good, really clear on your mindset in the beginning, and you feel like, okay, I'm going to be successful. And then you get to the middle part, and no one ever really talks about that. You're kind of just like stuck. And the way that I've had to, like, combat that in the past is to really check in with myself, like, every day or couple of days and see what I'm doing better than where I was before or where I could improve and things like that, so that I don't get stuck in this idea of, oh, I'm not successful anymore because I didn't do XYZ. Like I still am. I feel like I am still successful because I'm living my true purpose and pushing towards those goals, but I have to really like ground myself in that state and be like, this is just part of the process. It doesn't make me any less successful or anything. Um,
Um,
Yeah,
And
absolutely. I'm really glad that Eddie brought up daily routine as well. I mean, again, hate me if you want, but Dr. Benjamin Hardy, he talks about this all the time. I mean, there's this thing called the flow state, and in order to like really get into a creative process and be able to really focus for a set amount of time, you have to create your environment and you have to put yourself in that flow state. And one of the things that you need to do is like having some kind of routine, but also making sure that that routine does not overwhelm your day. Like I know so many people who have an hour long routine, and it's one so easy to stop it because it's so long, and two, like it has so many different steps that when you're traveling or going about, it's harder to really actually execute on things because you're missing things that may be in your environment. Like what I've done though is like I have like this journal, and every day like it takes me maybe 10 minutes every morning, and then like maybe 5 to 10 minutes every night to do this, but it sets my day up so that I can have that focus and that consistency and that I can create that environment that allows me to be in my creative process. So
right.
that's just one of my life hacks that I absolutely love.
I like that. And while we're talking about authors and building on the idea of daily habits, one book that I highly recommend, I mean, we need to tag these books in the comments that you're mentioning. So we'll have to do that. But anyways, Atomic Habits by James Clear. I really like that one, and I've seen it a lot all over social media lately that a ton of people have been reading it and applying it. And one of the things that he talks in there about is habit stacking. I read this book like almost like 3.5 years ago. So I don't remember every single thing from it, but I remember the biggest thing that stuck with me was habit stacking. And you're talking about these people with all these long routines. Well, they didn't get there by just doing an hour-long routine one day and stuck with it the entire rest of the time. They most likely got there from starting with one small habit that they could do every day. Once they've mastered that, add on another and another and another, and then eventually they get to this point where they do have an hour-long routine. But they like you can't just it's like the New Year's resolutions thing. You can't just like think you're gonna be great all of a sudden, do it a week, and then it's gonna fall off because it's not really ingrained in your routine or anything like that. So highly recommend that book and reading up on that and habit stacking if there's a bunch of habits that you've been wanting to do. But over time, these daily habits, even if they seem small, they're contributing to your overall success and your overall well-being and stuff. So,
Yeah, one thing that I do want to add on with what Colby said about his journaling process, there's going to be habits, small habits that are going to work for some people, same way that success is different for others. It's the habits are going to be a lot different for others as well. So don't think that there's like a secret formula that you have to follow in order for things to work for you, if that makes sense.
no,
This,
serious. Go
you go
ahead.
ahead.
Okay, I'll go ahead. Um, I one thing with that is like a lot of people that are like successful entrepreneurs and stuff like say or like even just like I would say overall like wellness podcasters are like get up at 6 a.m. every day, do this, you'll be so productive. Um, but that I will say firsthand does not work for me. Okay. If I wake up at 6 a.m., I do not have a very good day because my body is not meant for that. And even I've done a lot of research over this and like biohacking over the summer. Like follow what's best for you and your body and your routine when it comes to habits. Don't just try to do it because everyone else says like that's going to make you more productive.
Exactly.
100%. I mean, that's exactly how I built this journal is I took all my information, I took Benjamin Hardy's books, and then I fed it all into an AI, and then I basically had a conversation with the AI and told it what my goal was and how like basically I just basically told it all about myself, and then I had to ask me clarifying questions and analyze everything and then tell me like help me develop a routine. And then if I didn't like certain things, I told it, and it's still a developing process. But like that's where you use those kind of tools, and
Mhm.
it's totally free. Like, and it's so much better than listening to everyone's advice on the internet.
Sure.
It's so conflicting hearing different people as well. Like everyone has such different opinions about things. And I mean, if it's different across the board, that means it's opinion and not a fact. So,
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely. One thing too that I would want to add is that like same way with habits is different. Process is also different as well. So I'll give you an example. I know of someone that likes to do things the long way. And I'm like, well, why are you doing things the long way? And then I kind of give in examples of how Colby would do it because Colby's the type to automate a lot of his things and just wants to shortcut things. And it's like, as long as it's saving me time. But like for a lot of people, the way they go about things, especially when building a business, everyone's still going to start at A and everyone's still going to end at Z, right? Regardless of how long it takes them. So I just wanted to throw that out there as well.
I like that.
Exactly.
And yeah,
Robot lawnmowers for the win.
did you get one of those?
Yeah, we have a robot lawnmower and
I
we
know
haven't
about
mowed the
that.
lawn for like a couple summers.
I
Like it's
heard
been the
about that
best.
in a podcast the other day, and I didn't even know that was like a thing.
Oh,
I feel like
best thing ever.
I feel like I'm now like the automations and systems queen to like an extent, but when I was very first learning about AI, I was like going to Colby every week and I was like, "What new AI do you have? Like, what new thing do you have this week?" And so, yeah.
I test everything out, and sometimes they're really great, and sometimes they're really trash. So,
What's your new favorite one?
oh, my new favorite right now, I am very heavily using Fixer AI, and this is one that I'm going to keep forever. Like, I mean, I haven't looked at an email and actually like drafted a full response for over a month now, and because it just gets it so well done. Maybe I have to edit a couple things, but being able to go into my inbox and just press send for most of my emails, and then have the rest of them be ignored because they are marketing, and not even having to have that on my mind, best thing ever.
We'll have to talk about that later. I've been looking for a new one for emails and stuff because I want to create an employee that like does my email list for me. So I
Absolutely.
have to talk about that. But anyways, the next point that I had on there was daily habits that create compound success, which I feel like we already hit on, but we kind of skipped one a little bit. We dove on it a little bit in the beginning, but it was like the myth that success is only for naturally driven people. So I feel like we could go a little bit farther into that.
Yeah, I think it's not naturally driven. I think it's more nurtured to be driven, right? Whether if that's through individual or an environment as well. Hence why we're creating this community, right? I think that's a huge tie back. It's not about you're born with this drive, right? Or you're not of course, some people are born with maybe a talent, but talent can only get you so far in life. Um, and to stay consistent and persistent on things, you definitely need individuals to be around who are like-minded in that field or a community in general. That's kind of my thoughts on that.
Yeah, and I mean like thinking of like talent and stuff like that, like how many super talented like singers and artists and piano players do we know that like aren't famous for it? They're like it didn't take them anywhere because they didn't really have that drive. They weren't born with it. Maybe they were born with the talent, but not the vehicle to get there.
Yes, exactly.
I think, yeah, I think it's something that's acquired. I think, like, I don't know when each of you, like when you suddenly clicked into entrepreneurship, but for me, it was when I was 15 and I went to funnel hacking live for the first time. And that's when it suddenly clicked that I did not have to go the traditional route of going to school. I didn't have to go to college and like get a degree and get a job that I hated.
Right.
Like it just, it didn't like, it was just a sudden like click. And then I was like, okay, now how do I make this for myself? And I mean, I was just on a call yesterday with a friend from my mission, and he's been like, he messaged me on Instagram and asked, dude, what's this like EvoGen thing that you guys are building? And I just like shot back a message and I was like, dude, it's like, here's what it is. Like, we're helping our generation like discover what it is to be free. And for those who it resonates with, like, we just
Yeah.
want it to impact their life. And he's like, well, I love it because he's like, I just barely like tried entrepreneurship type stuff for the first time, like since I've been home from the mission. And he's like, I'm like addicted to it. I'm hooked to it. I want to try this. And I'm like, he just got the drive because now he's experienced something that he loves. And so I think that drive is just comes after you experience something that you love and you want to make it your life.
Absolutely. One thing also that I would want to add too is that this is just applicable for everybody. Once you realize and have the knowledge that every single day is an opportunity, that within itself drives everyone. Everyone. Every single day when I wake up, I think there's always an opportunity for a deal. Whether if that's investing in a business or or finding a deal through a real estate acquisition. So that's kind of my also tip that I would want to say to everyone that every day, every week, every year is an opportunity, but you just have to find that opportunity and be knowledgeable enough to go after that, right? So it's kind
Mm-hmm.
of my thought process.
I was gonna say back to kind of Colby's story with everything, I can't think of a specific moment that I actually was like, okay, I've got to start my own business. I feel like it was just like after a bunch of different things. Because I mean, I wasn't cool in thinking about business when I was 15, but when I was 15, my mom was working four different jobs, a single mom, like doing that to just pay the bills and be able to provide for us, which I can't even like comprehend how she was able to do that and raise three kids at the same time. But I knew back then that there was something else meant for me because I didn't want to end up working multiple jobs the rest of my life. I just didn't know what it was. And then flash forward, like I'm graduating college, I have this high paying job, like I'm in a really great spot. I bought a house when I was 19. Um, but at one point during that period of time, I was just like, I don't have any like free time to do whatever I want. I don't have like the freedom to just take off and go somewhere. And so I think that's kind of where things just kind of like started snowballing and then finally like hit a point where I was just like, okay, I've got to get moving on this because like no one else is going to do it for me. And so I mean, tying it back to that because my mom's probably listening. My biggest goal since starting all this was to retire my mom. So we're getting there. Hopefully by the end of the next 2 years we'll be there. But
Awesome. Awesome.
all right. You guys have anything else to add?
Another thing I would want to add is that, like I said before, the drive will be ever so changing. It's never going to be this one fixed reason why you're doing what you're doing. Like for example, I met Colby last year or 2 years ago, and when we met and I asked him, what's his ultimate goal, he gave me a completely different perspective and drive compared to what it is today. So, and that's the beauty of it all. So I just wanted to emphasize that it's ever so changing.
No, I'm glad you throw that in there because that seriously is like we're as people, we're constantly changing and evolving and things like that. And so there's elements. I mean, even I only met you guys like 7 months ago or something like that. And I feel like even since then, like I'm a completely different person. My business is on a completely different path. Like my goals, my specific goals. I mean, like I said, my end goal has always been to retire, or not end goal, but one of my biggest goals has always been to retire my mom. But like there's also so many goals within that have shifted and changed since then. So I'm glad that you said that because there's probably so many people that are like, or I know of a lot of people who are struggling like with the person that they used to be and
Yeah,
being like, I don't really want to do this anymore, but the person that like the reason I got into all of this was to achieve this specific thing, and now I don't want to do that. And that's perfectly okay to pivot and change things to better fulfill yourself. So,
exactly. For sure. I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree. So,
Well, I mean, actually, I think the first time I met Maisie was like in a month, it will be a year, like a year ago that we met.
okay, yeah, maybe
Next
that.
month, it will be like 1 year. And then I think it's the same for Eddie because that's when I started
yeah,
going to real estate
Okay.
yeah.
events.
That's why I said
So
1 year is to be safe, like two.
yeah, two, dude,
So,
it's crazy. It's only been 1 year, and like literally think about it. A year ago, we did not know each other at all, and like now we're here, and it's like even with Evogen, our motivations and everything have completely shifted and changed and evolved. So
exactly.
Used to be in Applebee's, just typing on our computers, making the
hey,
waiters mad because
that
we're
was like not even 6 months ago.
no, that was not. That was like October,
That
I
was
think.
October.
Yeah,
Yeah. Wow.
good
That
times.
felt like so long ago, though.
Right?
I don't know why. Maybe for
Crazy.
me.
I can't wait. It feels like we're completely different people. I can't wait until like I don't know, Evogen's just like huge and everybody's listening to this and we come and play this episode back and we're like, wow, we really started this in an Applebee's. Like
That's gonna be
Yes.
crazy. I love it.
Yes. With all of our laptops out and the waiter thought we were plotting on something, right? Or talking
yeah,
about something completely just ordinary, but it wasn't. It's bigger than us, right?
with my
Amen.
with my kids meal and my Oreo smoothie.
Yeah, I remember
Oreo shake.
that.
Yeah, good
Oh.
times. But anyways, before I forget, I didn't say it in the beginning of the episode. Our EvoGen launch event, when you guys hear this, it's gonna be like 6 days away, 5 days away. I don't know. It's Saturday, March 21st, 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. in Lehi, Utah. We'll drop more on our social medias with the specific address and how you can sign up and save your spot. But stay tuned. Make sure to be following us on Instagram for those updates. I just made a TikTok today. We haven't posted anything on it. I didn't tell you guys that yet. I made an account.
Oh,
Um,
okay, cool.
it's just Evogen Capital. Same thing as our Instagram. But yeah, we'll be posting more updates, hopefully daily until the event. And then yeah, bring your friends. We're gonna have a ton of giveaways for different things, like whoever can bring the most people, whoever invites the most people. We'll figure out the rest. But yeah, stay tuned.
Stay
Yeah.
tuned, guys.